Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shark in the gun, got the knowledge for the college. Football show breaks down the odds like scholars. 3-unit bangers, stacking cheddar like flowers. Ride the wave to fame, flex in the midnight hours. 9 words of lifestyle, spitting flames, no pity. Dominate the board like kings, ruling the city. Sports, gamble, and hustle. Money moves so gritty, cashing tickets every Friday. Life looking pretty, ride the wave. Feel the rush, hit the game. Shark in the gun, setting fire to the name. 3-unit bangers, stacking chips, no shame. Friday night sports kings claiming that fame. Analyze stats, break bread, no sweat. 3-point spreads, risk life, major bet. Cash in pockets, feel.
On a suddenly not so casual Friday night in January, it is CFP Knowledge for College Playoff Semifinal Edition Part 2, the Shark and the Gun. It is Friday night in January the 10th, the second one of the year. We are hyped. We hope you guys had a great week at work, getting your health and your fitness going so we can dominate this weekend. I'm hyped. Huge game tonight. GunzPicks. What's going on, brother?
You're hyped. Man, I'm hyped, baby. Notre Dame is going to the national championship game, and we're going to find out who they're going to play in this one with Ohio State versus Texas. We got the looks. We got the plays. We got a total. We got a side. We got everything in between. We'll be talking and breaking down this play and firing those shots across the bow. Let's get into the plays. I'm ready. Hyped as always. Let's do it.
Not waiting around. We're going to Jerry World tonight. Huge game. Ohio State, Texas. Texas, not the home team. This is neutral site, the Cotton Bowl. Part 2 semifinals. A lot going on in this game. A huge discussion to ensue. I have the side. Guns has the total. We'll start with the total. Ohio State, Texas, under 52.5.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be alignment on the side on this one, but I'm looking at the total. Because I think this is a little bit better play, at least from my perspective. You got to look at how these two teams perform. Ohio State is number 1 in opposing scoring, 2nd in opposing red zone percentage. And you got Texas that's ranked 3rd in opposing scoring and number 1 in opposing red zone scoring percentage. So you have two good defenses that don't allow a lot of points. But then you got to look at Ohio State, not allowed more than 17 points to their opponents this season, other than Oregon, who is 9th in offensive scoring. That's the only team that is able to put up more than 17 points on this Ohio State defense. And you got a Texas team. What do they want to do? They want to pass the ball. They're 18th in pass completion rate, 19th in yards per play, 13th in yards per pass yards per game, and 68th in opposing QB sack percentage. And I want to talk about that because they're going against a Ohio State defense, one of the best, if not the best in the country, 2nd in opposing yards per play, 1st in opposing yards per game, and they are number 1 in the country in QB sack percentage. So you're going to see a very tough pass rush here versus the Texas offensive line that, quite frankly, has holes in it and gives up a lot of sacks to Quinn Ewers. Then you got to look at Ohio State's defense. Look at Texas's defense. They have a great defense as well. They're top 12 versus the run. They're top 5 versus defending the pass. Texas has gone over only 5 times this year. 3 of those overs occurred on their home field, so you got to throw those out. One of those was against Michigan on the road that went over after a garbage touchdown from Michigan near the end of the game. And then you got to look at the Arizona State game, which did go over in that one. It was 17-8 in the 4th quarter, but you needed the under. You needed the field goal kicker to make his kicks, and he couldn't make them. 2 missed field goals led to double overtime and an additional 22 points added onto the total. Went over in that game. So when you look at those overs, they're explainable here. And from this situational standpoint, they do not fit into this game. I just think this is a good opportunity on the sheer perception of what happened in the previous game. Ohio State exploded in the first half versus Oregon, but that was a massive revenge angle there versus Oregon from earlier in the year. And then the week prior, with Tennessee, that was another quasi-revenge game, not towards Tennessee. It was to revenge the loss to Michigan, where they had the worst performance they had all season long. And then the Texas collapse in the 4th quarter versus Arizona State, allowing 23 points, including overtime in that one. That was detrimental and an outlier, in my opinion. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair here, possibly one-sided, towards the Ohio State side. So I'm going to be taking the under here. Ohio State, Texas, 52.5 as the play.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And jumping off of it, for the sake of posterity and the sake of Central Ohio, the Shark is behind Ohio State tonight. Let's turn the fuck up and dominate at Jerry World. Taking Ohio State at -5.5. And a lot to discuss here. Ohio State 12-2 on the campaign, 8-6 ATS. Most of their non-covers coming out of conference and coming against lackluster opponents. We see this in all sports, professional and collegiate. Some teams play down to the competition and play up to the competition. Precisely what this Ohio State team does. And speaking of playing up to the competition, 4-1 ATS versus ranked teams, 4-0 last four. Only non-cover back in week 7 on the road in Oregon. Not this at all. Incredibly impressive since. Blowout against Indiana at home. Blowout, not blowout, but 7-point win on the road at Penn State. Let that speak to you guys. I know a lot of you guys loved Penn State last night. Ohio State did take care of Penn State on the road in Happy Valley. And let's talk about the CFP playoff here. The route of Ohio State has been very difficult, similar to Notre Dame last night. Round 1 at home, Tennessee. A lot of people like Tennessee in that game +7. Well, Ohio State said, hell no. 42-17 blowout. Even more impressive in the quarterfinals on New Year's Day. Neutral site Rose Bowl against Oregon again. This time, not a 1-point loss, a demolition 41-21 victory as a favorite. And if you look at Texas, Texas has the exact same straight-up record versus ATS record as Penn State did last night. We went on record last night, and I said, I'm unimpressed with how Penn State has played ATS. Texas, 13-2 straight up, 8-7 ATS. And against ranked opponents, 4-4. But I think really interesting stuff here in terms of recent history in the CFB playoff. We said it last night with Penn State. Round 1 and round 2, not particularly difficult. Well, here we are with Texas. Beat Clemson in round 1, 38-24. Clemson very fortunate to even be in the playoff after backdooring the ACC championship game. And then last round against Arizona State, a double overtime win, barely escaping a team who was not projected to be even close to the CFB playoff early season. This is incredibly strong numerically. You have the 8 seed laying to the 5. And this is the first time all year Texas has been an underdog. And I was just reading some stuff on X. I've seen Instagram. I've heard the mainstream media. If you're not covering as a favorite and books move the line against you heavily, they're not telling you you're going to improve as an underdog. They're telling you you're about to get blown out. I got some more points on this. The gun aligns. I'll throw it to the gun for more comments, and I will jump back off.
I think you got to look at this too, is how these teams perform away from their stadium. I think this is an important take on this one. When you look at Texas, they just have not performed away from home. When you look at their statistics at home, they put up 503 yards of total offense, plus 27-point differential. They outgained their opponents by 172 yards per game, but when they travel, they only average 389 yards of total offense, plus 11-point differential, and outgained their opponents by 95 yards per game. And they're also 2-4 ATS in those situations. And their scoring drops as well, 27 points per game versus 41 at home. I think on the other side, when you look at Ohio State's numbers, their yardage actually gets better, 425 at home, but they put up 446 on the road. And they also put up 32 points per game on the road, 39 at home. But you can see there's not much of a drop-off from whether they're on the road or at home. So that is kind of a key situation here. And also, Ohio State 3-1 ATS is a single-digit favorite. And like you said, they're a dog. Texas first time as a dog this year. I just think this from a statistical standpoint and a numerical standpoint, is telling you everything that you need to know, because the books are even weighing heavily towards the Ohio State side, where you would think, if you look at these teams in terms of rankings, there's not much of a drop off there, but the books are telling a different story here. I think we saw some holes in the passing game versus Arizona State, and that's going to be even worse today with the weapons that Ohio State brings to the table. They have 4 or 5 weapons in the passing game. They can get it to anybody on the field, and they can produce. Even if they do take out Jeremiah Smith, it doesn't matter. They got Abuka, they got the tight end, they got running backs of Judkins and Henderson in the backfield, and Will Howard, he can run himself. I think if that line is going to be comfortable there and hold them back and give him time in the pocket, this is going to be a blowout here for Ohio State. So yeah, I think the only way to go with this one is Ohio State.
Yeah, and just jumping back off here, when I was looking at this before, I actually wasn't totally in tune with the fact that Texas had been favored in every single game this year. More often than not, when you see a team that's favored in every game and then they become an underdog for the first time, it's like +1, not +6. Like, I want you guys to understand how historically strong this is for Ohio State. It really speaks to a blowout. And something we talked about a few times over the course of this season is this transitive property idea, which I think plays reasonably well when there's not a lot of common they don't have a lot of common opponents. So you have to find maybe one and then kind of layer it a little bit. And that's what I did. So Texas has 2 outright losses to Georgia this year, one in the regular season, one in the SEC championship game. A common opponent here, Georgia to Ohio State, is Tennessee. So if we're going to weight Georgia and Ohio State versus Tennessee, Georgia beat Tennessee by 14 at home. Ohio State beat Tennessee by 25 at home, which means that Ohio State is 11 points better than Georgia versus a common opponent. So if Texas lost twice to Georgia and Ohio State is 11 points better than Georgia, that's the margin you're seeing here. I have this game based on transitive property that is not line functionality, but just this particular equation that I've ran. Ohio State to win the game by 3 touchdowns. Guns, do we think margin is coming at that level?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get cute with it, you might as well have like an adjusted spread on this one. Might even move the needle up a little bit to get some better juice, maybe on the plus on this one. I agree with you on this one. I mean, when you see it at -6 right now, I see this as a 13, 14 point victory minimum. This is going to be something that you're going to know right away what's going to be the outcome of this game, because Ohio State likes to start fast and Texas likes to start fast as well. Both good first half teams. And if you see Ohio State coming out and Texas can't do nothing, Texas is not the greatest second half team. So adjustments probably won't be made very well with Sarkisian. And you have to not, if hypothetically, I'll say this, hypothetically, if Texas happens to be up or close in the first half, giving you some indication this is going to be somewhat of a close game, I probably am going to take Ohio State in the second half, knowing what Texas is. Texas is a first half team, and then they kind of crater down in the second half. If you want to split this up, but like I said, you're going to know right away what the outcome of this game is going to be.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Texas has been a great first half team this year. And, just historically, you talk about teams being due. You talk about, say, like the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. That's kind of who Ohio State is. Ohio State's been around the national championship for years. C.J. Stroud almost got one. Justin Fields was close. Ryan Day has been close. This really is that environment where a team that is just constantly knocking on the door is just so overdue. And it's not so much overdue based on luck. It's just they're so talented every year. At some point, it's going to go their way. And truthfully, I think this is one of the easiest paths they've had, just given the parity of college football this year. In yesteryear, Ohio State really struggled because they would run into like an absolute unit Alabama team or Georgia team. No team this year is better than Ohio State. And you saw it on record in the last game. As we said, just demolishing the previously undefeated number 1 seed, Oregon. Ohio State's the best team in this field based on pure talent. Of course, Guns will have something to say about that on January 20th. But they are the most talented team, and they're peaking at the right time. I don't think Texas is peaking at the right time. Texas barely got by Arizona State in the previous round. And as we said, Arizona State wasn't projected to be anywhere close to this. I think this is a significant mismatch, and we do think margin is coming. We see our guys in the chat. Picks from Dave. What up, brother? Peter Gracia. What's up, guys? What is going on? And Big Ron says, Ohio State caught Oregon in a spot. Won't happen with Texas. Well, Ron, we just talked about it for 17 minutes. We encourage you to listen, but we appreciate you got some good takes. We love you, man. You're a good dude. But that will be a wrap on this. We'll be back tomorrow for NFL. 2 games on Saturday. Chargers, Texans, Ravens, Steelers, part 3 in prime time. It is going down on a Friday. We appreciate you guys immensely tuning in. Knowledge for College, the semifinals, part 2, an opportunity to dominate. My official, Ohio State minus 5.5, 1-6 now. And the gun aligning on that and officially on Ohio State. Texas under 52.5 has gotten steamed down to 52 or 51.5. Intelligent steam there. GunzPicks, pleasure as always. Close them out with some words and let's dominate.
Yeah, you can check MGM. I think you can still get a 52 or 52.5. I know they were behind FanDuel and they were behind DraftKings, just to name a few. So there are 52s and 52.5s out there. If you go shopping around, you can go find that out. I actually got 53.5. I got 52.5. I bought the line a few times because I really do like this under, especially what happened in that last game with 2 teams in Penn State and Notre Dame where you thought it was going to be an under, and I was on the wrong side of that one, and it went over. So to me, I think it's going to be polar opposite in this game. But I digress. Thanks for everybody in the chat that's joined us. Shout out to everybody. Please like and subscribe to the GunzPicks channel. Please like and subscribe to the Shark Water Station channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button on the video that you're watching right now. That is how you support us and get us in the algorithm of all algorithms that YouTube deems fit. And you can also get into the comment section. Tell me if you like the plays. Tell me if you hate the plays. Just get into the comment section and join up here. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon for the NFL show, like Shark said, breaking down the Saturday games. Of course, we'll be back on 10 a.m. on Sunday to break down the rest of the slate. I appreciate everybody that's joined us here today. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate double. And as always, let's keep dancing. Jaboom!